Hello and welcome back to Fantasy Nuts UK. This is the What's Next series, and tonight I'm joined by Kev White. He is 1/3 of the Fantasy Wildcard Dynasty podcast. He's at Dynasty_Go on Twitter. Kev, what is going on, my friend?
Good evening, Lewis. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me on. I'm looking forward to chatting about very interesting guy in Dynasty right now. It might be a little bit random because I'm an Eagles fan and it's not an Eagles player or team, but this is a guy that I love talking about. So I'm really pleased you've got me on and looking forward to the show tonight.
Any chance I get to take in a bit of your knowledge is worth it. It doesn't matter who it's for. And yeah, tonight is what's next for Lamar Jackson. So he's one of the players in the NFL that there's been loads of question marks about all through last season when he was hurt and things like that. Was he really hurt? And you see all these madness storylines and things like that. But if you want to jump straight into it, Kev, what would it take for someone to pry Lamar Jackson from you in a, let's say, Superflex Dynasty League?
Yeah, so I think this is a really good question because Lamar Jackson is actually my most owned or highest owned QB in Dynasty. So I'm happy going after him, and I sort of have a good gauge on value for him as well. So did a trade this weekend where I bought him for the 105 and the 112, which, being honest, I probably didn't need to take a QB, but I have this theory in place in Dynasty that if any of the top 10 QBs become available, I want to buy him at market value. I just think it's such an important position. It's such a foundational piece on your teams that anyone comes available, you take them. That deal, 1-5, 1-12, I thought was really favourable. If we're talking random firsts, I guess you'd have to pay at least 3 firsts for him to get him from me. But I'd probably want a little bit extra, maybe 3 firsts and a second, depending on which year the firsts are in, if it's the 23 class, if it's the 24 class, etc. I just think on the other side of things, though, like if you're going after Lamar, if you've got someone like a Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, if I can just move sideways to get Lamar off any of those 3 guys, I will be happy doing that. So, yeah, I think if you're coming to get Lamar from me, it's going to take a good offer, maybe something like a Fields plus, or I think it is hard to trade him just for picks. I want a really solid asset and extras on top. I think if you're just taking picks, it's too risky because we've seen all these rookies before that you think are great and they turn out to not hit, which, yeah, it can ruin your dynasty. If you're trading your biggest asset for 3 guys that don't hit, you're in big trouble. You're setting yourself back many years.
I mean, I would absolutely pay that. What did you say, 105 and 112?
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. That's what I got him for. But the thing is, I know in other leagues it's been similar prices. Another guy said, I got him for the 1.5 and the 1.10.
That is absolutely madness.
Yeah.
I mean,
the uncertainty of his.
Yeah, maybe. Because obviously there's uncertainty around where he'll even play, and he, like I've mentioned before, he was injured last season and things like that. But he's a cheat code. He is the 101 of the sort of dual threat quarterbacks, without a doubt. He's a running back level as a quarterback that can throw as good as most of the quarterbacks. It's mental.
Yeah, I think we saw as well when he had that season where his passing efficiency was perfect, when he was MVP level.
Mm-hmm.
He scored the most fantasy points ever by a QB in a season. So that is his ceiling. If he hits for you in any given season, nobody's touching you. Josh Allen owners, Patrick Mahomes owners. Maybe someone like Jalen Hurts can be that person and have a season like Lamar did, but Lamar's done it, and when he hits, his ceiling is astronomical.
Now, see, I love Lamar too, and I went after him in one league where I narrowly missed out last year. I think I lost in the semi-finals, and I have a lot of good players in that team. So I play aggressive anyway in Dynasty. I like to win as soon as possible. But I sent you the trade. I'll just read it out. I got Lamar Jackson and Tyler Higbee. I don't know why I got Tyler Higbee back, but he's there. He's a body. For Geno Smith, Zeke, Tyreek Hill, Dalton Schultz, a 24 first and a 23 first, which is late, like 109 or something. And it's a definite overpay because of Tyreek and Schultz there. But I still don't mind it. I still don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, I think my thoughts were when you told me that it wasn't overpay, but I think in Dynasty, if you're going to overpay at one position, at one spot, it's elite QB, top 5, top 10 QB. That is a spot where you're overpaying for something that's a really safe, long-term asset that's got a massive ceiling and a massive floor. It's a lot safer than paying over the top for a running back, for example, that's potentially,
of course,
higher injury risk and higher risk of the value decreasing in any given season.
Yeah, absolutely. So among all the uncertainty, do you see Lamar returning to the Ravens for 2023?
Yeah, I think just thinking logically about the Ravens, first of all, that they're a smart franchise. They've got an elite QB in my eyes in Lamar Jackson. He's still a young 26, 27 years old. I just find someone that's coming into his peak, into his prime. You've hit on your draft pick, the 32nd pick of that draft. They've hit that pick. Trying to find another Lamar Jackson's going to be extremely difficult. Whether you go draft or whether you try and trade or anything, it's going to be so difficult to find another one of these guys. I think they can't let him leave the building in my eyes. It's going to set the franchise back. I think tag could happen, but it's all down to the deal that he wants a guaranteed deal more than Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
I think, if you have to pay the going rate at QB. You have to pay. If Watson's got that, Lamar Jackson deserves that at market value because he's done it consistently, and from what we know, he's not getting any off the field character concerns. So I think he's right to ask for what he's asked for. Will he get it? Maybe not, but I do think he will be a Raven in 2023. Yeah.
Like you say about it's the going rate for quarterbacks, because me and Matt touched on it a little bit when we spoke about Daniel Jones, and he's asking for 45 million, but which is probably a bit higher. But then when you look at like Jared Goss getting 33 and a half, Cousins 36 and things like that, it probably ain't based on last year. So Lamar Jackson for me is better than Deshaun Watson. He ain't missed like 2 years of football, and the Ravens are in a good cap situation as well. I think they have like the 7th most space or something. And yeah, they need to get something done. They need to pay that man what he wants, really, and just go from there.
Yeah, I think at QB as well, like people compare contracts, player versus player. This guy's on this, so this is an overpay, but the salary cap keeps going up every season. So the X amount you're getting for Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, people will say that's Daniel Jones asking for 10 million more, but relative to the cap, it's probably a similar amount. So yeah, do I think Daniel Jones is worth 45 million? Probably not, but it's what you have to pay when you've got a potentially elite franchise. Well, I'm not going to say Daniel Jones elite, but when you've got a franchise QB, you've got to pay it, or at least tag him and see if you can do it one more season before you eventually pay him that.
Do you reckon Lamar would play on the franchise tag though?
I mean, he'd have to, wouldn't he, really? Unless he's going to do a Deshaun Watson and sit out.
Yeah, just sit out. But I don't know.
Who
It's
knows? Yeah, who knows
an
what
interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, he's not got an agent, has he? So he'll be
It's
seeking
literally
advice
up
for
to him.
himself.
Yeah, literally, it's his own thing. If he does stay, which I think they'll work something out, they'll get something done. If he does stay, they've got the 22nd pick in the first round of the draft. There's a few free agent wide receivers knocking about now. Robert Woods hit the market recently, and who do you think would be a good addition for not just the Ravens, because they've got like Bateman coming back and things like that, but from a fantasy football perspective, who do you think could elevate with Lamar Jackson as their quarterback if they join the Ravens?
It's tricky, really, because for fantasy, I think we know it's a run heavy offense. We know that Lamar's going to be getting his on the ground, and we know that Lamar's going to be safe for fantasy regardless of who's a wide receiver. He didn't have the most amazing weapons when he had that record-breaking season. So I think it's going to be hard for whoever goes there to perform for fantasy, because Bateman was doing great before he got injured. They've got Mark Andrews. It's not a massive pie to be giving around to everyone. I think the sort of wide receiver I think they should go after, or what I believe they will target, is someone that's fast, that's a deep threat, because when you've got two deep threats on the outside, they have to play deep coverage at safety, which creates more holes for Lamar, the running game on the ground. So I think free agent wise, maybe guys like DJ Shark, Darius Slayton would make sense as field stretchers. I know there's a lot of calls for players like Hopkins and Michael Thomas to go there, but I don't really see how that fits what they're trying to do. Draft wise, round one, it's a similar range to nab a guy like Jalen Hyatt in the sort of early 20s. I think they've got pick 22. Yeah. And his comp is Will Fuller, which is again a field stretcher. But I know you asked about free agency, the draft. I think there's an alternative as well. There's the trade market, and there's someone that's I think really interesting from a real life point of view. I think if he does come into town, it's gonna affect Bateman. It's going to affect Andrews as well, and that's Mike Evans of the Bucs, because obviously it looks like the Bucs are going to be rebuilding with no QB. They've released Fournette. I think there's ties as well. The new OC for the Ravens, Todd Monken, he worked with Mike Evans in Tampa, so
yeah,
I think just if I'm a Ravens fan from a real life point of view, I'm hoping that they re-sign Lamar, maybe go after Mike Evans and try and get serious in the AFC, because let's be honest, if they don't add anybody at wide receiver, don't add any weapons, even if they keep Lamar Jackson, I can't see them beating the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bengals, etc. They're going to be a great team as always, because it's a fantastic franchise, but real life, they need to have more if they're going to compete.
I'll tell you what, that shout, Mike Evans, is absolutely fucking brilliant. I didn't even think about it, to be honest, but it works so well. Like you say, with Monken there as well, they've got a connection already. It could harm, it will harm Bateman and Andrews a little bit, but Andrews will be the guy playing up close, won't he? So maybe it'll hurt Bateman a bit more, and it would certainly, that would be brilliant. The only question mark is the only question mark is if Evans actually wants to leave Tampa. I know you don't have a choice if he's traded, but he's been there a long time, hasn't he, and things like that.
Yeah, I think older guys, they tend to want to get a ring, and I think even though AFC is at the moment really tough, just so many great teams, I just feel that if I can't see the Bucs sort of getting a QB to. I mean, they're talking about Trask and another as a battle. So yeah, they're not doing anything. He needs to move.
It just depends how he's feeling about it. If he wants to go down in Bucks history as one of the greatest for them, he's already won a ring.
Yeah.
Or if he wants to move on and try and nab another one, similar to Bobby Wagner's going everywhere and and chasing a ring. But if he was to leave, because we'll cover all these bases, where do you see that he could land in terms of a team that needs a quarterback and they've got the space to actually do it, but could be good for fantasy football?
Yeah, I think, first of all, trade-wise, it's got to be to an NFC team because you're not keeping him in your conference. So that's half of the field gone. I think the one that's talked about the most, which makes the most sense, is Atlanta. I don't think Ridder's the answer. I think that the sneakily an up-and-coming team, I think the lively outsiders to win that division. I think it's wide open. They've got some nice pieces on offense, ascending, Pitts, Drake London. A lot of people like Tyler Algier at running back as well. So I think Atlanta would make sense. I think wherever Lamar goes, everybody's dynasty value is gonna rise, especially in Atlanta where it's been Mariota and Ridder. Everybody's value is going to rise there. The other team, which I think fantasy-wise, it's sort of 50-50. It'll be Chicago. It appears that they're not sold on Justin Fields. They're looking to trade down, maybe looking to trade Fields. There's no tie. I don't think there's ties to Fields here. I think the guy that drafted him is not in the building there. So and a new coach. So Chicago, again, the weapons there. There's not as many weapons, so it's hard to say Komet's going to get a spike or Darnell Mooney. I think wherever Lamar goes, if he does leave Baltimore, his value is not going to take a hit too much. He's done it without weapons, as we said, in Baltimore a couple of years back. But yeah, Atlanta and Chicago are the two that make most sense. Atlanta would be massive for the other pieces. Chicago, not so much, but I guess if I'm a Cole Kmet owner and Lamar goes there, I'm trying to sell a story that this is a mini Mark Andrews to some absolute chump in my league and hopefully getting a bite.
You've said that directly to me now, so it won't be me, Kev. They're the teams with the two most cap as well. Like the Bears have nearly 100 million, I think. It will up there somewhere. The Falcons 66 million, because they're the one I think legitimately, if it doesn't happen before draft night, maybe, but they could come in and make some sort of mega trade on the night of the draft or something. I don't even know. Something crazy is going to happen, but they got 66 million in cap space. They could easily bring in Lamar Jackson. It would elevate the run game. They said they'll look to make an addition to Algier at running back as well, because it's like they want to keep their guys fresh. They had Patterson before, didn't they, with Algier? He was very efficient, the touches he did have as well. So yeah, they love running the ball, so that fits that scheme perfect. And then Pitts obviously went down, got hurt, but him and London, that's your two pass catchers you need when you're such a run-heavy team. The other one, though, they don't have over a lot of space. They got, 24 million is still enough. But Seattle, because they got a high draft pick, they got 2 in the first, I believe.
Yeah.
It's interesting one for me. They need a quarterback. Are they high enough to get one anyway? Not Lamar Jackson level.
It's tricky with Seattle because I do love Geno Smith. I think it was great for fantasy as well this season. But yeah, he's a free agent, so we'll see what happens there. You could easily see a scenario where they either go Geno Smith and a rookie or the swing big for Lamar Jackson. I'm not sure how likely it is with shifting off Russell Wilson and appearing to be in a rebuild, but that was in a rebuild this season and made the playoffs. So
yeah,
that maybe they're closer than people think to challenging again.
what I think it is they hit on their draft picks really well with Charles Cross and the DB Woolen.
Yeah, Tariq Woolen, yeah.
He was outstanding as well, and they hit on their early draft picks massively, and all of a sudden they don't look too far off getting back in the hunt again. The rest of that division was poor pretty much, except for the Niners as well. Arizona's got the 3rd pick. The Rams have no picks. They don't like draft picks, but they were bad as well. Bad luck with injuries, more to the point. But that is about that for what's next for Lamar Jackson. Thanks for joining me, Kev. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, just thanks for having us on again. It's been fantastic to come back on the show. I didn't wear my snapback today because Philly didn't beat Minnesota the week before, but yeah, you can follow me. You can follow me on Twitter at Dynasty_Go. I'm a co-host of Fantasy Wildcard Dynasty, as you mentioned. We're at Wildcard Dynasty. The brand as such is Fantasy Wildcard at Fantasy Wildcard. We've got 2 fantastic shows that we do each week. Follow us, check us out on Twitter, on YouTube. It's getting an interesting time in the off season, so I'll be putting out more content as we're ramping up towards sort of free agency and the draft. So just keep your eyes peeled. Thanks for having us on. It's been a blast.
Welcome anytime, mate. But that is it for today. By the time this is out, it will be the start of the NFL Combine. So, until next time.